652, 1320 WILS. Donald Trump last night sitting down with Megyn Kelly of Fox News. Very interesting interview. Definitely different than anything I've seen him do before. Let's talk about what Donald Trump's up to. Debbie Georgatos joins us, political strategist. To find her at ladiescanwetalk.org. Debbie, thank you for joining us.
Hi, Mike. Thanks so much for having me on.
We haven't talked since he became the presumptive nominee. What do you think about that? How do you think he's going to do against Hillary?
You know, I actually think when we get around to November, I think that Donald Trump will beat Hillary, and I think he'll beat her handily. And the reason I say that is I think that the sentiment that brought so many voters out in the GOP primary, they had record turnout in the GOP primary this year, record high, and much lower turnout than the Democrats expected. I think that's just a signal of where people are. And so even though a lot of people turned out for Ted Cruz or whoever else they were supporting, at the end of the day, those voters want to make a big change in Washington. They don't like the direction that President Obama's taking this country. So I think they'll get behind Trump, and I think he will beat Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. Is it clear to you what her message really is, what her campaign's really all about?
You know what's funny? She announced yesterday that she was going to have her husband, Bill Clinton, he'll be in charge of the economy. And that just seems incompetent. That just kind of, by the way, I can't handle one of the major jobs of the presidency, so I'm passing that off. I think it was a very desperate thing for her to say. She sounds weak. She appears weak in many of her presentations. And, you know, she's just a lot about, to my sense, it boils down to she's a lot about, I'm a woman, it's my turn, and I'm a good Democrat, and so just it's time to jump on board with me.
Do you think her campaign, are they really taking Donald Trump seriously?
Oh, yes. I think they're trying to mock. You often hear comments from Hillary Clinton's campaign and other prominent Democrats about how they are very confident that Hillary will beat him handily in the fall. But, I think they're getting very worried about him. Donald Trump generates crowds that are unprecedented in many big cities and even in some, kind of purplish states. And so I think they're watching that on the Clinton side and saying, geez, never saw this coming.
Yeah, well, she needs to beat Bernie first, but it looks like that'll likely happen. So here is Donald Trump last night with Megyn Kelly, and it was a very, I wouldn't say emotional interview, but a very personal one at least. Here's some of the exchanges.
You've been divorced twice.
Yes.
Did you learn something about relationships, about love, about yourself?
Well, you have to put more into it. I put so much into my business that I didn't put enough into the relationship. And I see that, and I've learned that. I have learned that. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about that because that's the way you are. If somebody told you that you have to ease up, you can only work half the number of hours that you're working, I don't know if you'd be able to do that.
I'd give it a try.
Is this the kind of interview that you think helped him and kind of encouraged even women to vote for him?
I will say it is something that makes some women, as they actually tune in to watch it, and I'm dying to find out how many people watch that interview, but he did have a softer demeanor, and he did have a, trying to sound like he was happy to be reconciled with Megyn Kelly, and so he had a warmer way about him. But, my overall impression of that debate, that interview yesterday, it just had a lot that I honestly watched it today on my computer. It kind of made me sad about America, honestly, because it's kind of two celebrities sitting down, and it's kind of all about the celebrity culture we have. We have Megyn Kelly, who's famous, and Donald Trump is famous. And, in a presidential year, I would love to have heard more substance to it. I think he did, though, as you say. He did accomplish appearing to have a warmer, softer
but
side.
I'm curious, Debbie, do you think the substance, is that really going to change anything? If he comes out and starts talking policy, is that going to get him new votes?
Yes, I think there are people sitting back, the people who are like Paul Ryan and others on the GOP side saying, I'm just waiting to hear more. I need to be convinced. Are you really a conservative? Can you handle this job? I think that, yes, I think he needs to come out with substance and sound more like he understands a lot of the issues facing America. That was a fluff interview. Maybe it made him like a warmer guy. But, yes, I think there are people sitting back, especially Ted Cruz supporters, who think that he was rock solid in the Constitution, rock solid on foreign policy, just rock solid on strong things. They want to know who Donald Trump is.
Okay, but what's your sense? Is he going to be rock solid on anything?
I think that he, more than anything else, Donald Trump has a big ego and he wants to be successful. So I think, assuming he gets the nomination, is rolling toward the fall, I think he's going to make a very serious effort to appear substantive, to gather people around him who really understand various policy areas, who can give him rock solid advice. Mm-hmm. So was this a right or wrong thing about the overtime pay change that is being talked about, or whether or not what the president should be involved in, a variety of issues. I think
but he needs to get some specifics. Well, here's a little more. This is Megyn Kelly and Donald Trump getting specific about Donald Trump's emotional life.
Has it happened that somebody has done something to you, not a death in the family, but has done something to you to wound you?
I can say this. It would be something I could certainly think about and, come back with. It's all right.
No, it's okay.
But I will say this. When I'm wounded, I go after people hard, okay? And I try and unwound myself.
What did you think of that answer, Debbie?
It is so much. It's vintage Donald Trump. He really doesn't want to admit that he just wants to be a bigger than life swagger ego guy, and that's how he struck me in this interview. He had a softer demeanor. He spoke politely, but he doesn't want to admit anyone's ever hurt him. He doesn't.
Should he have answered yes and been specific there?
No, I think you can just say, look, I'm a human being. Of course, I've had hurtful things in my life. This isn't, I don't share my personal life on the stage. That's not what this race is all about. You can give an answer like that.
Yeah, it seemed that there were some definite awkward moments in the interview. In fact, there was a point where she finally confronted him about the way his Twitter followers were attacking her, and here's what that sounded like.
You probably had some pretty nasty tweets sent your way. I don't want to say, but I've heard that.
But you retweet some of those. It's not just the fans.
Yeah, but not the more nasty ones. You would be amazed at the ones I don't retweet.
Bimbo?
Well, if there was a retweet, yeah. Did I say that?
Many times.
Ooh, okay. Excuse me.
I thought the whole thing was quite funny. What did you make of that exchange?
That is true. And that one, he didn't ever get the words out, I'm sorry, but more or less by his demeanor. And I think he says, excuse me there. Couldn't quite hear the recording. But, he does end up saying, I shouldn't have done that. I think he did. He managed to convey a little bit of a softer side. I'm glad she pushed him on those tweets. But, he didn't. At the end of the day, she was trying to ask him going forward, are you still going to be tweeting all the time? He kind of said, yeah. And, if I could tell you the one thing of all that bothered me about the interview about Donald Trump, is this. She said, Megyn Kelly said to him, if you don't win, will this race have been, worth it, or will it be a waste of time? And he said, this race will have been a complete waste of time, of money and effort if I lose. And there's something very egotistical about that. And the other candidates will get out of a race and say, well, I didn't win, but I'm glad I got the issue of a strong national defense laid out there. I'm glad I got my points known about the unfair tax system. It's just a little egotistical. And
that's part of his character, apparently. Is there anything in your view that he can say that could actually hurt him at this point?
There are such extreme things that he would never say. No, I actually think the people who are behind him, and honestly, those ranks are growing, and even some of the Cruz supporters are getting behind him. I don't think he could hurt himself much at all in this campaign cycle, unless he said something that you and I would both agree would be absurd. He would never say.
Right. He seems to walk it, like he'll say something absurd sometimes, but then he'll walk it back, and then we forget about it somehow. Do you think anything he's said so far has hurt him, would you say?
For some women voters, people have used the word about him many times in the media. He's misogynistic. He doesn't treat women fairly. I think the Carly Fiorina's face comment, there are a lot of women, if you're not going to pay attention to politics or you just pay a little bit and you hear that's enough. And the Megyn Kelly comment after that was the very first debate.
The bleeding one, that one?
Yeah. Okay. I think there's some women who just are done with him, but I don't think they I don't think that those people will ever be brought around to him because they're turned off and disgusted. But they have such a weak candidate on the other side. I just don't think those kind of things are going to hurt him that much.
Do you think he'll in any way pull a punch on Hillary because of the reaction he got to those comments?
I think that he will go for the jugular with Hillary. I just think he knows she will. He knows that Clinton machine. And so he may say things in a less tacky way. But he is going to go right after her. I mean, I love just calling her, I lost the word, not
crooked Hillary?
Crooked.
That's it, right, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great word because, when people hear it, if you know anything about Hillary, it's true. It's not like saying something that you will think, why did he say that? Crooked Hillary, I think he'll do that. I think it'd be very effective. I've also had this thought, and I'm curious if you think this too, but I'm not at all sure that Hillary or Donald Trump are going to want to debate in the fall. I mean, debate over the summer. I'm sure that the public will demand it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be a sight to see. Is there any way she can? I mean, for her to beat him, what would it take in terms of what she can do to win?
She's got to make a play for the voters that the Democrats usually get, who are not yet coming behind her. And those are a lot of young voters, the college-age crowd. The young millennials seem to like Bernie better. She has to make a very strong play for that group, and I think she will. And she's got to be trying to work with Bernie to get him to say, look, folks, I didn't get the nomination. Please get behind Hillary. She's got to be working toward getting Hispanic voters. So she's got to focus on the traditional hyphenated American groups that the Democrats count on.
Trying to get him to turn out. What do you make of him still fighting it out with her? Is this really messing up her campaign?
I'm sorry, this really a what campaign?
In terms of Bernie still going at this, is this a major hindrance to Hillary?
Yes, I honestly think Hillary will win the nomination, but Bernie Sanders has really uncovered and embellished for America that we have a serious problem of people who are really embracing of socialism, think it's a good idea, and to serious students of history, serious students of modern world, and understanding what Venezuela is like today, what Cuba is like, what communist countries are like. Yeah, you just shake your head. But Bernie has not only caused her to not get coronated as she thought she would, but he set a really high standard for liberal expectations among young voters. Yeah, three things I should get. Yeah, she's got to deal with that.
Maybe they need to take a field trip to Venezuela for a few weeks. It might change their mind. Debbie Georgatos, political strategist. You can find her at ladiescanwetalk.org. Ladiescanwetalk.org, also the name of her book, Ladies Can We Talk. Debbie, thank you very much.
Always great to talk with you. Thank you, Mike.
And that wraps it up for us.